I have a question this Friday night. Is Jerome Powell happy now? His refusal to cut interest rates has helped slow the Trump economy. The August jobs report showed a disappointing 22,000 jobs added. Now, that's just one measure. Forecasts have been as much as 3 to 4 times higher than that number. But the manufacturing sector, it seems, has been hit as well.
Yeah, Mr. President, we learned this morning that we've lost 78,000 manufacturing jobs this year. How do you explain it?
Well, one thing we have is, we have the interest rates are too high. That was, a matter of the Fed. But the other thing is so many different elements aren't included yet.
Well, he's right about that. And he's also talking about future revisions, which have become commonplace, as you know. And although this isn't the news they wanted to hear, his team is confident the investment boom, including for AI data centers, will create a jobs boom.
Well, I think that if you look at the indicators, there's capital spending boom, industrial production at an all-time high. The Atlanta Fed says GDP now is north of 3%. And so all the indicators are saying that things are really strong. And what we've also seen is that Goldman Sachs put out a study yesterday that said that the August number tends to be really messed up because of seasonal adjustment things, and they tend to be revised way up. And so I think if they were revised up, which has happened on average over the last 15 years by about 60,000, then everything else would make sense.
Of course, Democrats saw the news and think, well, they have their opening.
This is a result of, among other things, the president's reckless tariffs.
Howard Lutnick can say, oh, you're going to like the number 6 months from now. When you bring in a Trump ally and cook the books, it doesn't change reality. Things cost more, and the tariffs are making business more difficult in the United States of America. That's our reality.
Yeah, difficult for foreign workers. Here to discuss is Senator Eric Schmitt. Reports, Senator, that Chicago Fed Chair President Austin Goolsbee is still on the fence about whether to lower rates. Watch this.
You know the rules. I'm not allowed to speak for the rest of the Fed, the FOMC. I'm only speaking for myself. I want to get more information.
He wants to get more information because he says monthly payroll numbers aren't enough to indicate that a cut is in order. But at this point, Senator Schmitt, is it wrong for Americans to think the Fed's decision-making here isn't about economics, it's about political sabotage?
100% it's about politics. Jerome Powell has discredited himself. You look, he was too slow when the Democrats were spending at record high levels when they were in power. He was too slow to raise rates, and now he's too slow to lower rates. Although the one time he did do it was right before the Democrats had that presidential election that they need to hold on to. That was the one time he did do it. So I think he's discredited himself and poisoned the well in many instances over the prospective effect of tariffs. The truth is, you have hundreds of billions of dollars now coming into the Treasury, which may cut into the deficit. You see now trillions of dollars being invested in production in new factories in this country that are not online yet. So I think the good news is all the key elements are being put on the runway right now. You've got the one big, beautiful bill with the tax cuts, no tax on tips, no tax on overtime, stability in the market because those tax cuts are now permanent, avoiding the largest tax increase. You've got these trade deals, which are going to be good for American businesses in our agricultural economy as new markets are opened up. So you're seeing the runway being set here. But the truth is there's a lot of capital, Laura, on the sidelines because Jerome Powell has proven to be incompetent
the
once
rates
again.
are too high. Investing at this point, really the rates are affected by uncertainty. I mean, not the rates. The hiring is affected by uncertainty for sure. But those rates are driving people out of the marketplace. But we put up a graphic a little too early a minute ago. I want everyone to understand this. Okay, August 2024, the average weekly manufacturing earnings were 1,367. Now they're 1,420. And for rich people, they might not think that's a lot of money, but that's about $3,000 more annually when you do the math, given what's happening, because foreigners are being kicked out of the workplace. Americans are getting these jobs, and investment is actually working. So there are some really good indicators. And describing all the elements that Trump was trying to reference today, it's not easy. But betting against Trump on economics is one of the dumbest things you could ever do, in my view.
That's right. Yeah, and you've got real wage growth up, right, adjusted for inflation, including, in part of those numbers that you mentioned. Also, since he's taken office, 500,000 new jobs created, all American-born workers. right? So what you saw under Joe Biden, any increase that you ever saw was foreign-born workers, not American-born workers. So what's happening? We're going to have more factories in this country. They're going to hire more Americans. That's where the job growth is coming. We're going to have greater productivity and real wage growth, just like we saw under President Trump's first term. And inflation was under control. One last point, the unemployment number is still at 4.3%, which is well below the 10-year average. So all the markers are good. Trump's getting his agenda in place in time for it to play out in 26.
Yeah, I'd check out January to June of next year. That's going to be the boom. Senator, great to see you. Thank you. All right, coming up.